What's up, beautiful people? Come in here. I'm going to share, and so you guys can share as well, because this is going to be such a phenomenal conversation this morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Oh, yeah. This is going to be so good. And so come on in and share, invite someone, tag someone. Good morning, Lucretia. Good morning. Who else is out there? And listen, guys, we got the best people on the planet following us here on our Effective Living platform. And for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and check out the daily content. Good stuff all the time, all the time. What's up, Billy Johnson? What's up, Vito? And so I'm excited to introduce my guests to some in a few minutes, but I need to share too. I need to share. If you have shared this already, go ahead and do that for me. And so we can make sure as many persons get an opportunity to be a part of this incredible conversation that's about to go down. Okay? This is going to be great. Hello, guys. I am Coach Ricardo Miller, and this morning I'm joined with my good friend, Carol Crockett. Minister Carol Crockett, how are you doing this morning?
I am wonderful, Pastor Coach Ricardo Miller. I'm excited about being here today.
Listen, we're going to have a time. We're going to help some people out, and we're going to bring some truths to the forefront. And so while we're introducing effective living to some and others saying, listen, I've set my notification on Facebook. For those of you on YouTube, listen, put on the little bell, ping. You want to know when we go live here on Effective Living. And so, Carol, could you tell our viewing audience a little bit about who is Carol Crockett?
Yes, I'll be happy to. And thank you for inviting me. I am Carol Crockett. I am a daughter. I'm a sibling. I'm a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. But I also am a friend. What I enjoy saying that I am a good friend, and I enjoy that as well. But I am a minister at the Pathway of Life Church, and I just enjoy encouraging people.
Yes, nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, we're going to be talking about the power of words, the power of words and how it's important for us to pay attention to what we're saying because the reality of it is life and death is in the power of the tongue. What got you passionately engaged or interested in this whole element of words, Minister Carol?
Well, I'll never forget one time I used to be such a worrier. And I would always, whenever I get worried, the first thing would come out of my mouth was those things that were so negative, and that those things were shaping my future. And when the reality of one particular thing showed up, and I was able to trace that back to the very words that I had spoken. So I was just like, oh my God, I can't complain or say anything about anyone else and what has happened in my life, because it was me and those words that I spoke that were out of emotions, but yet and still it came to pass.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we're about to take off. We're about to take off. Good morning, every single one of you guys that are watching me this morning. Do me a favor and share. Listen, guys, you got to watch what you say. You got to watch what you say. Now, Minister Carol, when you think about words, there are a number of dynamics in relations to words. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about maybe the spoken word. Let's talk about the thought, the unspoken word. And there are people, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are watching us today. There are people who say crazy stuff just outright. You say, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I can't win from losing. Oh my goodness, when it rain, it pours. I just hate myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just frustrated, and they're just constantly these horrible, horrible words. And then some people have gotten a little bit better, Minister Carol, and they have stopped saying it with their mouth, but they're still saying it in their heads. Talk to us
Absolutely.
a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Because before I speak those words out of my mouth, they had to start somewhere.
Yes.
So they start in our minds.
Yes.
We have to begin to be consciously aware of my thought. I think Joyce Meyer said it better. I love her because she said you have to think about what you think about. Because what you think about, it really becomes shaping what you see and what you say. And so if we don't change how we think, if you think somebody said, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, that's exactly what you're going to get. So we have to start thinking about what is manifesting in our thought life. It's our thought life that becomes a reality in our word life, and that becomes a reality in our lives.
I so like this. This is so good. So many people are popping in, but we have to think about what we think about. Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Write that down. Put that in the chat. I need to think about what I think about, because the expression that comes through this verbal delivery is coming initially from thought. A word is a spoken thought.
Yes, it is.
Okay, a word is a spoken thought. So the Bible says, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. So what you're thinking about all day long, you're becoming.
You are becoming.
What you think about all day long, you're becoming. Let's talk about the damaging words that people are continuously either verbally saying or constantly pondering on.
Yes. For example, like you were saying, that if something happens, you'll say, "Oh, that stuff is just killing me." As a matter of fact, I have gone to my trainer, and my trainer, when he's working me so hard, and I carelessly and unconsciously, you think, "Oh, you're killing me." And then all of a sudden I said, "No, you're not killing me today. You are actually giving me life." And so you have to begin to think those negative words. Oh, this is just too much. Everybody else can do it, but I can't. Because when you start saying those kind of things, or you kind of start thinking those things, those have already begun to shape that's your foundational principle. That's where you're building a foundation. And even when you think about words that have been spoken to you, and you start embracing those thoughts, and so you start embracing those thoughts, and then you start saying them over and over in your mind, and you begin to start living once again what you're thinking.
So you have these moments, Mr. Carol. Everybody has said this about me, so now I'm going to say this about me. When the truth is, the majority of people around you could be the wrong people around you. Let me say that again, ladies and gentlemen. The majority of people around you could be the wrong people around you. Some people say, well, if everybody is saying it, it must be true. It could be that in this case, the crowd is wrong. No. Hey, listen, it is possible for the majority to be wrong. Okay? So when we hear so many people saying stuff, sometimes, Ms. Carol, we don't want to do the heavy lifting. We don't want to do the work to find out for ourselves and to get professional, qualified assistance in establishing what we have accepted. We just take loosely what other people say. How important is mindset? Because that's a mindset.
It is. And you know what? And you have to, I think the Bible tells us that we have to set our minds on things above. So that tells me that I have to have a certain mindset. So my mind is, once again, my thought. But if I'm going to set my mind on those things that the majority of the people are saying about me, and I buy into it, then that's what I've set my mind on. And sometimes, like you say, sometimes you have to I hate to say cut people off,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think you have to know what your worth is,
Yes,
know
love.
your value. Because when you know your worth and know your value, I say sometimes you got to be in that 2%
Yes,
thinking that I can, because the 98% of the people may be thinking you can't, but
yes.
those people are going to keep you average, stagnated, and keep you where they want you to
To
be
be.
rather than where you are trying to be. See, they want to conform you
Yep,
to
yep,
what they think. But if you're in the business of transforming,
yep,
sometimes you have to remove yourself,
yep,
not ugly, not put, but sometimes you just got to remove those people who are constantly speaking
yep.
things that are death in your
Well,
situation.
yes,
You
yes,
have to
yes.
remove
And,
them.
and I think that's the reason why one must study oneself. You need to
Mm.
know you, because the reality of it is you could have fallen, you could have been relocated, you could have find yourself in an environment that doesn't know who you are, and they have an idea as to who they think you are
Yes,
or who they
absolutely.
think you should be. And
Yes.
if we build ourselves on what the wrong mindset
Hmm.
believe of us, we could be so much less than what we're capable of being. Lately, I've been on this mission to help people to capture the fact that we are so much more than we are right now.
Yes.
Did you
Hmm.
hear that right there?
Yes.
we,
So much more.
we are so much. Somebody who is watching right now, you need to write that down. I am so much more than I am right now. I was talking to a gentleman not so long ago, on Minister Carol. He said to me, he says, listen, well, brother, you don't understand. I'm going to be me. I said, listen, it is possible for you to be your age and still haven't discovered who you are.
Right.
I says, be careful to be so quick to lock into what you said is you if you have not studied you sufficiently from the creator's intent. It
Hmm.
could be that based on your schooling, based on your culture, based on your family ways, you have put together those ways, and now you have established. All of my family know I'm always late. All of my family know I'm not good with money. All of my family know I've never been good at school. All my family knows you just might as well don't depend on me. And that's just who I am. I'm gonna be me no
Hmm.
matter what. Let's talk about those thoughts or words that we're holding on to that are not biblically sound or healthy. They're just not good.
Yeah. And sometimes, we want to be the best me we can be, but sometimes my me can get in the way of the best me I can be.
Yes.
And so if that's the culture you've been involved in, that's your environment, and that is so limited. I think you put the limit on yourself. And when you said that that's just me, but that's not how God always want you to be. It's just
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
He wants you to be just like he called you to be.
Yeah.
But if you are not open
Yeah.
and you're not willing to make, we got to be willing to make some changes.
Yes. Yes.
If
Yes.
you see that there are some things that's not working for you in the best interest,
Interest. Yeah.
don't be afraid to step away from that.
Yes.
It
Yes.
may mean you got to step away from all that negative mindset, all
Yes.
I think you say it all the time. Sometimes you got to unlearn
Yep.
what you've already learned in
Yes.
order to be able to move to that next place that you probably are striving to be. But
Yep.
you let those naysayers and
Yep.
that culture and that environment keep you stagnated and keep you there. Sometimes we stay there because we want to fit in, and that's where we're comfortable.
Oh, listen. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Listen, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, guys. And I know for those of you that are watching, we have Esther Moreno watching, Melissa watching, Naomi. Listen, guys, if you have not shared this, please share. I would love every single one of you guys. Y'all need to become a fan of the Effective Living
Yes.
platform. Come on, beautiful people. Sherry Chester there in Tennessee is watching. Let's talk about this. Lazy thoughts and lazy speech. In other words, the unwillingness to change speech and the unwillingness to change mind, the investment that one must commit to get your mind changed. Well, you know what? I've heard someone said this, Minister Carol, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I've had to remind them, I'm glad you're not a dog.
But see, those are things, those are mindset, those are words. Sometimes we think those words give us a little bit of clout, but sometimes that kind of very thing keep us where we are, because even a dog can learn some
Yeah.
new tricks if you
Yes, yes.
train them.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to remember that we ought to always be in a place that we are willing to look outside our limited thought life
Yes,
and be able to see if there's another thought
yeah,
that's there that I can embrace to make me grow. But if I think that I can't learn, if
yes,
I think that I'm in the best place I'm going to ever be for the rest of my life,
yeah.
that's troubling.
Yes, hey,
Yeah.
that is so troubling. Let's
Mhm.
talk about this. I've come to accept this, that a person who is committed to improving, they understand that very core. There's two things we have to constantly be working on: keeping our heart in a very healthy place where, watch this, the Bible says he will give us the desires of our hearts. And so, but if your heart is in a cleansing place, management is in you, but you haven't applied for management. Home ownership is in your future, but you have not tried to go home hunting. Entrepreneurship is a part of your DNA, but you're afraid to launch out and start that small business because somewhere along the line you've been taught, keep that postal service job, keep that government job. You know what you got, you don't know what you're gonna get. A bird in the hand is better than five in the bush, or something of
Mhm,
that sort. I've
mhm,
never
mhm.
even figured out how to work that. uh, listen, let's talk about this whole element of making sure our heart is right, to
Mhm,
ensure that our minds can
mhm.
be getting both feeding in the right way. We got to get the mind right. We got to get our hearts right, because the truth is you're nothing more than both of those things functioning in the right way.
Because, like you were saying, our heart has to be right, and that is where our motives are.
Yeah.
But if our motives, the Lord want us to have the desires of our heart, but He want us to be concerned about the motive.
Yeah.
What's the issue of the heart with this
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
So if my heart is right to be able to do those things that I know that is the desire of my heart,
Yeah.
and I don't move in that direction,
Yeah.
I'm basically telling God, really, you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And fear, I find that fear can be one of the most stagnating things that
Yeah.
will hurt us.
Yeah.
Fear in our heart
Yeah.
becomes fear in our mind, and then we think we can't. So we have to know that we can't be afraid. Like you said, yeah, it might be a sure thing, but I really love this generation of you people that are younger than me, because I think that that's been a mindset for those who are in our 70, about to be 70. I think that was a mindset that was instilled in us.
It does.
Go
Yeah.
to work, stay there
Yeah.
20 years, get
Yeah.
you a pen, get you
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cup and a
Yeah.
plaque,
Get you a
and
watch.
that's a watch. And that's all you have to show.
Yeah.
But I told my nieces and nephews, I love the fact that you're stepping out. Yeah, you stayed on a job maybe 5 years. You found that wasn't your niche,
Yeah.
and you're not afraid to step out.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to try a little business. My one of my nephews gave up this $70,000 job to go and try to do something
Yeah.
on his own.
Yeah.
And he realized after a couple of years that wasn't what he needed to do,
Yeah.
but at least he took the
Tried.
step
Yes.
to
Yes.
get
Yeah.
it done. He didn't
Nice.
sit back and say, he didn't listen to all us old people saying, are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You got this big amount of money. Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? He found what he loved to do. And I
Yes.
absolutely love that. Because sometimes we stay in those spots 50 years
Yeah.
and never love one day going to work.
Whoa, come on. Listen, so I want to push this because you're on a roll today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't shared this already, please share this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please like the page, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or like our Facebook page, and put on your notification. But I want to talk about something else here, Minister Carol, and that's denial of thought and denial within heart. And that is what you just said. You don't even like where you work. You don't like what you do. You don't like how you show up in the world. But you have conditioned yourself to say to yourself continuously, it is what it is. I am too seasoned. Some may say I'm too old to change. And the reality of it is, you may not need to jump like a young buck, what they call,
Right.
but
Right.
you may just make a commitment to still be engaged in the involvement of life at a healthy place. Let's talk about denial, because there are some people at the very core, their heart cries that I am not where I want to be. In their minds, it's as a matter of fact, when they hear positive content, sometimes like this, they shut off. Do you know that we're human beings? It's like, I don't know if you remember dealing with children, and you're an educator, you remember there are some kids, they stand up, they fold their hands, and you're talking to them. And let me tell you something, everything is on lock.
Yes.
You ain't getting through at all. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm telling you, and I'm telling you. And then 2 weeks later, you say, I talked to that girl or I talked to that boy, and nothing changed because the person heard you, but they did not receive you. There are people who are in denial because they are refusing to accept the truth of the matter, that their words that is being expressed from the thought that they're constantly pondering on, and the refusal to address the matters of the heart. You know you want to be free. You know you want to live and dream and explore and leave your legacy in a way that you could have made a contribution, but don't want to jump out. Talk to us about the struggle to fight past the self-denial to put in the work.
I think you're right. It's just like you say, that self-denial that you get in that place that you're denying yourself because of your thoughts. You're denying your ability because of your thought.
Yeah.
And so once again, I think it really goes back to that fear and that I'm comfortable right here. But that denial keeps you in a place, and you already said God give us the desires. But if I'm going to continue to deny what God has already placed in my heart, in my spirit, He's given you the green light to go.
Yes.
But you get in that denial place, and or you get to that place, you might even say, okay, I'm thinking this, I'm speaking this, but now are you gonna do it? Because you must begin to put something in action. Like you were saying too, if you sit up with denial means I got to still a closed mindset.
Yeah.
Your mind is closed and your heart is closed.
Yes.
So if you got your heart, your hand, your mind closed, what's going to get in it? What are you even going to be able to give out? Because another thing I think about, when you deny moving in the purpose that God has for you, you're denying yourself, but guess what? You're denying what you have to give to someone else.
Yes.
You have to be willing to step out, because I'm not living here just for Carol.
Come on. Yes.
I'm living here because I want to affect someone else. I want to be able to share with someone else. But if I continue to deny and keep saying, oh, Carol, you don't have anything to give. Oh, Carol, you can't do that. So I'm continuing to deny who God said I am, what God has placed in my heart. That desire came from Him. So if that desire came from Him, why am I denying it? Because now that tells me I still want to be in control.
Yes. Listen, we're gonna bring this in. We're on the road. We got about 5 minutes left. Listen,
Okay.
I want to talk about, when we're talking, we dealt with denial, and ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about really changing your life from this effective living standpoint with words and thoughts. I want to talk about association. I want to talk about the watch this, because when you say a thing and when you think a thing, you also attract similar like people who say the same type of things and who think the same type of way. And that's where the statement of birds of a feather flock together. And so the unfortunate truth is, someone is going to believe and agree with you with the limited lie that you're saying to yourself. Someone is going to agree with you on all, well, you know what, this I'm just not good during the holidays. What about you? Girl, I ain't good about the holidays either. Well, you know, I'm not good with money. Well, yeah, girl, I ain't good with money either. And it is a known fact that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And so, not because, and I'm really big on this right now in this season, not because you find a few people to agree on what you're saying mean it is true. And most of the times, Ms. Carol, we push away or stay away from people who actually say the truth. And that is mindset again, and that is wanting to have people who will agree with what we say. How important is it for us to pay attention to who we're associating ourselves with?
I call those kind of people my people who I need to co-sign on my thought and
Woo!
co-sign on,
I,
on what, because
yeah,
you do hang around those people, and those people co-sign on what you're feeling because that's your little circle.
yeah,
They know what you feel. They don't want to tell you the
yeah.
whole truth and
True.
nothing
Yeah,
but the truth.
yeah,
They would rather, sometimes get in a place where I'd rather have her friendship
yeah,
rather than tell her the truth. But I think those kind of people are the people that we have to learn how to kind of pull away from.
yeah.
One of the things that I have prayed is that Jabez prayer, that the Lord will enlarge my territory,
Territory. Yep.
because that doesn't mean that those people that I've depended on and I want them to stay in my life,
Yep.
but you got to be willing to enlarge your circle
Circle.
of
Yes, yes,
people,
yes, yes,
because you do want some people to challenge you.
yes,
And if
yes.
you don't get anybody challenging you and everything is okay, all right, and
Yeah.
we just when am I going to grow?
Yes.
When will they grow? And
Yeah.
so when will I live the most effective life that I
Come
can
on.
live if
Yes.
I'm just going to sit there and have that circle, those same circle of friends
Yeah.
that you truly love, but
Yeah.
they co-sign for you in your, I say they co-sign for me in my mess and my
Yep.
emotions
Yes.
and
Yep.
all of that. So you have
Oh.
to be willing to step out and reach out beyond what you're comfortable with,
Yep.
because you need people in your life that's
Yep.
going to challenge you, that's going to tell you the truth. But
Yep.
also those people, I always say I need some people who going to push me just
Me.
a little bit, push
Yep.
me out of that comfort zone.
Yep.
And then also, I think those are people in our circle. And for me, it was, I needed that people pleasing
Yes.
person. Now
Yes.
I got that. And so
Yep.
it's easy for me to stay there,
Yep.
but I'm learning that
Yep.
that's not always the best place to be. There's
Yep.
still my circle,
Yep. Yep.
but I still need to reach out among my
Yep.
circle in order for me to be able to get some constructive
Yep.
criticism, because all criticism is not bad.
Right. That is the truth. Not all
Mhm.
criticism is bad. That is so good. Write that down, guys. Not all criticism is bad. As a matter of fact, you got to get to the point, and I want us to close with this. I want to talk about pushing yourself to expose yourself to better truths that connects with the heart and the very depth of your mind. Years ago, I remember Miles Monroe teaching a message where he says, "Listen, you've been sweeping that yard, but you know more. There's more in you than sweeping that yard. You've gone to that job, but you know there's more in you than the job. You know you don't like maybe even cleaning up the house, but you don't want to step out and get someone to clean your house because people are going. You can afford it." But
Mhm.
what people are going to say, and you can do a lot of things, but a lot of times people are struggling because they have not advanced themselves to a place that embraces who they really are. In other words, if you want more, sometimes you have to be in a more environment like setting,
Mhm.
and so let's talk with that as we bring this to a close. Finding ourselves in an environment where the language is more in line with our destiny.
Mhm. And like you were saying too, you really have to be self-aware.
Yeah,
You really have to think that I'm worth much more than sweeping
yeah,
this yard.
yeah.
And so I always say you got to learn how to dream again.
Yes,
You got
yes,
to learn how to say, I'm here right now,
yeah.
but this is not where I always
Come
want
on.
to be.
Yes,
And
yes,
not be afraid to vocalize and
yes, yes,
verbalize
yes.
those things,
Yep,
because if it's in my heart, it's my intentional. I'm
yep,
intentional about it.
yep,
But
yep,
you can't be afraid to dream
yep,
and to dream bigger than where
yep.
you are. And
Yes,
because I think when you don't dream bigger and you don't think that there's any more than what I have right now,
yep,
you settle. And
yes,
I think settling gets
yes,
us in trouble. We settle, and
yeah,
like you said, if you can afford to have your house clean,
yep,
why will you allow somebody else to say, "Girl,
yeah,
you let somebody clean your house"? Well, yeah, I'm 70. I don't feel like doing that all the time.
right?
But they talk you out of that because
Yep,
in their mind,
yep.
that's making you look like you are up and
Uppity.
above them.
Yeah, uppity. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
you're real uppity. But you know what? You got to just learn that there are some things that I can do with people,
Yeah.
but I got to be okay with some things that I'm okay doing for myself alone,
Yeah.
and not let their outside thinking make me think that I'm trying to be better. I'm just, if this is what my desire is, and this is what I feel like I'm worth, why can't I have those things?
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Minister Carol Crockett joining me this morning here on Effective Living. Listen, I'm not better. I may just be pursuing different. And if different for you is perceived as better, that's on you. Go to God and you deal with that, because I want what I believe that belongs to me. I want to challenge you guys today to go after what God has placed within your heart. I like what Minister Carol said. Don't you settle. Watch what you say verbally. Watch what you say mentally. Pay attention to what you've been thinking about all day long, because what you continue to think about, you're becoming. And that's not, watch this, that's gravitating towards you. Your words matter. Okay, Minister Carol, closing thoughts. Remind these folks that, listen, their best days are ahead of them. And if they could commit to doing the work and aligning themselves with proper speech and thoughts, a lot can change for the better.
And you're absolutely right. We have to know that whatever we are trying to change, it requires our responsibility to work at it. Even if it means working my mind to be able to change the things that I think and to change the things that I say. It's a process. It won't happen overnight. So when you find yourself in that same place of selling with that same mindset, I pray that something will trigger you from today's message that will say, oh, that's wrong thinking. Because I think Joyce Myers called it stinking thinking. It's our stinking thinking that gets us in the way. And if we want to change the way we think, we have to become so consciously aware of what we're thinking, but also be willing to say, okay, I thought that, but I'm going to rethink what I've just thought about, and I'm going to start watching the things that I think, because I know that those are places where I began to house and shape my thoughts are shaped there, my words are shaped there, and sometimes that's where my destiny is shaped, from my very thought.
So good, so good. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys go ahead and have a phenomenal day. It's been a blessing to have Minister Carol Crockett join me this morning. We just wanted to challenge you. Just see, one good principle can change your life forever. Okay? You don't need a lot to be said. You just need the right thing to be said. And I like what she said. She said, don't you settle. And there are certain things that have been said that is challenging your mind right now. Do the heavy lifting. Identify who can help you to get to where you're trying to go. Identify some of the things you need to change so that you could find yourself ending this year strong. At some point, you got to tell yourself, I was not created to live from crisis to crisis.
Absolutely.
At some point, you got to tell yourself, there is so much more in me based on my potential, but I am so living below what I believe I was created to live. And here's the deal. Anybody who is discouraging you from becoming your best self does not mean you really well. And those people, some of them you can totally disconnect from, but you could definitely love them from a distance.
Love them
Coach
from
Ricardo
afar.
Miller telling you, love some people from a distance and make sure you assess where you are so the rest of your life can be the best of your life. Carol Crockett, thank you very much for joining me this morning. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, please share, please share, please share. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.